Welcome to Bull TV, where we're bullish on Collierville and the Mid-South. I'm your host, David Pickler. Bull TV is a monthly show that empowers, educates, and entertains while highlighting the people who inspire and deliver solutions for a stronger community. Bull TV is presented by Pickler Companies and is proudly produced by the students of Collierville High School. We invite you to watch our show at www.bulltv.show, thebullnetwork.com, and Comcast Channel 1081. New episodes air on the second Sunday of every month at 3 p.m. Central Time. On today's show, I'm joined by Shelby Williamson, the new president and CEO of the Collierville Chamber of Commerce. Together, we will discuss her vision for Collierville's business community, the Chamber's role in supporting local growth, and the collaborative spirit that continues to drive our town forward. Today I'm joined by Shelby Williamson, President and CEO of the Collierville Chamber of Commerce. Shelby assumed this role in August 2025, bringing a wealth of experience in economic and business development across West Tennessee. Throughout her career, Williamson has built a reputation for strategic leadership and collaboration. She worked closely with local industries, government agencies, and regional organizations to strengthen economic opportunities and drive business growth. Her experience spans business development, talent attraction, and regional advocacy, skills that continue to shape her work in championing Collierville's business community. A Mississippi State University graduate, Williamson holds a Bachelor of Arts in Communications with an emphasis in public relations and earned her Tennessee Certified Economic Developer designation in 2024. She's an active member of the Tennessee Chamber of Commerce Executives and the Southern Economic Development Council, a former member of the Tennessee Economic Partnership and Weakley County United Way, and a graduate of Leadership Weakley County.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you. Well, one thing that you'll always, about our show, we always begin with the same thing. We want our audience to get a chance to get to know you a little bit.
Absolutely.
So in 3 words, who is Shelby Williamson?
Absolutely. So when I kind of reflect on just who I am as a person, 3 things just really come to mind. So authenticity, driven, I'd say energetic, and passionate. So I'll say that one more time. Authenticity, energetic, and passionate.
Okay, fair enough. So when you think about passion, how does passion really, help really define who you are?
So I think for me, I kind of knew at an early age that what I wanted to do in my life. I've always wanted to work in economic development or chamber work in some aspect. And so I had that passion and kind of drive behind that. And so everything that I did in high school, in college, and then after, college was driven by passion to get really where I am today and to continue to expand on that. So really having that passion as one of my key characteristics really helped fuel to where I am today.
That's great. Well, let's talk about that. You recently stepped into this role of president and CEO here in the Collierville Chamber.
Yes.
And so how's the transition been for you so far? I know you're a veteran of it, like a whole 2 months now.
I know. Yes, so 2 whole months. Sometimes it kind of feels like 2 years with how much we've kind of had going on. But it's been awesome. I know as you're one of our board members, so everyone has been super welcoming and kind of given me really the lay of the land, giving me a lot of history, like a lot of things of where, hey, we can work on this. We're doing really good at this. And so everyone's been very open and honest, and I feel like that's really what I needed to hear. And I've asked people, hey, where are our pain points? Where can we do better? But really the whole community has really welcomed me with open arms. And being that, I'm from Jackson, Tennessee, I'm a Tennessee girl, but I'm not really from Collierville has been awesome because this community is wonderful. And so really having them just say, hey, yeah, you're here. We love having you here. It's been great.
That's fantastic. Well, I know that we're excited to have you. I had the honor of being one of the members of the interview committee and actually made the first screening call to you. And I remember telling everybody, I said, this is a rising star. And so we're so excited to have you here. So what was it about Collierville
Yeah.
that made you excited to take on this role?
So for Collierville, so like I said, I'm from Jackson, Tennessee. So I've known where Collierville is. I know where Memphis is. And so back in 2021, I moved to the Memphis area. And Memphis in itself is great, but Collierville is just really special. I think that Collierville has, I mean, we're up to around 5,500 people, 55,000, excuse me, population, but you still have that small town feel in Collierville. And I really feel like that's special. And so when this position came open, I was like, that's a place that I want to be. And I have a young family, I have a 2-year-old. And so really moving to Collierville was like, no, we want to be here. Look at the school systems, look at the people here. It's a great place to live, work, and play. And so when I saw this position was open, it was like, it's a great place. It's what I want to do. It's my passion. It was a no-brainer, really.
That's fantastic. We talked a little bit about Collierville. So let's talk a little bit about the chamber.
Yes.
So what is leading the chamber mean to you personally?
So personally, it's a lot of things. So like I said, I knew early on in my career, really in high school, that I want to work at a chamber of commerce. And so a little backstory on that is that my dad runs a chamber of commerce, and he.
I was just say that's not a normal child's dream. I want to be a chamber leader.
Yeah, so I don't really in the interview process. I'm not going to bring it up because I'm here to sell myself and not him. But really, from like my story perspective, is I saw what he did, and he has so much fun. He loves his job. I don't think he'll ever retire. And if anyone's met my father, we are one and the same. And so in my senior year of high school, I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And so really leading a chamber to me is so personal, just because I have, honestly, that connection with him is really cool. But again, it's my passion. It's what I want to do. And so, I'm 29 years old, and to be able to say, hey, I've gotten here, I've made it, and now we're gonna grow it is really exciting for me. So it's not just a 3-year, 5-year. It's like a 10-year, 15-year. We want to be here for the long haul. So
all right, well, so I got to ask a question there.
Yes.
So how old was your dad when he first became a chamber president?
So he started out at a chamber, I want to say, way early in his career at the Henry County Chamber of Commerce. So he, I think he was right out of college. So he went there. He's from Paris, Tennessee. So he started there, then did several things. But I think he was around 45 when he became chamber president.
Okay.
So he just celebrated 16 years, and he's 61. So I think that makes, So I beat him to the punch on that one.
You did.
We're both very competitive. And so that makes this really fun too, because I'm like, no, my chamber is going to be better than your chamber.
Exactly. Well, we expect that now.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, let's talk about the chamber. Let's talk about how would you describe the mission of the Collierville Chamber under your leadership?
Absolutely. So kind of coming in, I was like, hey, we want to shake things up, and we really want our businesses, no matter their size, small, large, medium size, we want all of their voices to be heard. And so kind of coming in, we're figuring out how we can, expand our programming and to provide more value to our members. And so we want the business that has one person and the business that has 500 people to say, I feel seen and I feel heard at the Collierville Chamber.
That's so important. A lot of people don't even really understand the role of a chamber. And so if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about what is your vision for what you believe a Chamber of Commerce should be in a community?
Absolutely. So I really feel like a Chamber of Commerce should be an advocate for especially our small businesses. They are our bread and butter of what makes, a town, especially in Collierville. We have so many people here who are entrepreneurs or who've started a business and kind of grown it from the ground up. And so we want the chamber to be a place where they can pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm having this issue. How can you help me solve it? And that's really the mindset that, I'm having myself and the staff kind of take of like, someone calls us and they have an issue and they're not a member, we still want to help them out. But we'd love to be a place where businesses convene and they can bounce ideas off of each other. But we also want to be very approachable. So we don't want someone who's, they have an issue and they're like, well, I'm too small, they're not going to be able to help me. No, we want to help serve you. And so doing that through obviously providing just networking events, but also just new councils that we're adding to the chamber. So we're starting up a workforce council, and we want to figure out how we can bridge the gap between businesses and the school system, and businesses and our TCATs and the community college, and really serving as a facilitator for that. So we're really excited for the future. We think that there's a lot of opportunity, and starting even just like manufacturing industry councils, those bigger businesses, let's get them in a room and they can bounce ideas off of each other. So I guess we want to be a convener, if you will, and getting people together.
We always think about the power of connections.
Absolutely.
And to be able to, as you say, to facilitate, to convene, but also to be seen by business as a problem solver.
Yes.
Very important.
Absolutely.
Love it. All right, now we know that you're surrounded by a great team at the
Yes.
Carville Chamber,
Mhm.
and as a leader, what kind of culture do
Mhm.
you want to help to create, and what is the legacy that you
Yeah.
want to leave within your organization?
Absolutely. So we have a great team at the chamber. It's we actually just hired another lady, so we're staffed to about 5 people, and they're awesome. They're great, and I really the culture that I want to create there is a culture where everybody feels like their voice is heard, kind of like what we want with our small businesses. But I want to be approachable. If they have a new idea or they say, "Hey, this didn't work," let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. Because it's not just one person that makes the chamber better. It's going to be all of us working together to really take it to new heights. And so the legacy we really kind of want to leave behind is that people feel like, we are doing that, and that, we're working together cohesively, and that I guess you could say we all want to be preaching from the same hymnal. And
Exactly.
so really getting us all on the same page. And I feel like the staff feels that already of, they can just walk into my office and say, "Hey, we have this, like, what do you think about this?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, let's workshop it, let's get it done." So
Cool.
that's really the culture we're trying to create.
Well, and so when you're coming into a new organization,
Hmm.
and you're wanting to implement change and create that, then it's hard to try to get everything done. So
It
what?
is.
So when you think about what you want to accomplish in, say, your first year,
Yes.
so what would be your top priorities for the
Hmm.
chamber as in your first year as president and
Yes.
CEO?
So I like we said, I've been here 2 months, but it kind of feels like 2 years a little
Hmm.
bit. I feel like we've already accomplished a lot in those past 2 months. And so one of the biggest things, we saw, or I saw kind of coming in, was with our membership tiers and things of that nature, there's not a lot of value there. Well, there is value, but it wasn't defined.
Right.
And so one of the biggest things that I really wanted to get done in the first year, and we got it done super fast in the first 2 months, was figuring out what those benefits are and how we highlight them and show a return on investment for our members.
Good.
And so we've gotten that done. However, I want that to be kind of a flexible document for the first year to
Hmm.
say, well, let's add this in, let's do this, and so that we're continuing to add value to our members. So that was a really big key piece. And then also just highlighting and figuring out our new event programming. So figuring out ways that we can better serve our members, and they can tell us, "Hey, this isn't working. This could be better. What if we did it at this time?" So expanding our programming to provide more free opportunities for our members, and then just better opportunities for them to network and tell other people about their businesses. So that's another really big thing. And then really expanding on our committees and our councils within the chamber. So like I said, we're launching, a workforce initiative, and then starting a manufacturing and excuse me, manufacturing industry council,
Hmm.
as well as like a small business council as well. So really getting all of those people in a room. And really the biggest thing I feel like for the first year is like, I just want to listen. I want to hear the stories, and I want to hear the grievances, and I want to hear the good things.
Hmm.
And I want to take all that in, and then we move forward from that and say, okay, this is the
Wow.
past. This is where we're headed.
You've only been there 2 months?
Yes.
Wow. That's incredible. I mean, it's so much energy, so much
Mhm.
passion for what you're doing, and I love the direction. I know that when people think about chambers, they wonder, what is the role of each chamber? And
Mhm.
every chamber has their own ideas. And I know that there's been some concern in the past that we were more about events
Yes.
and less
Mhm.
about member service. But it sounds like you're really putting a focus on
Absolutely.
being a problem solver and a convener, and really addressing the things that are the issues that are important to small business.
Yes, and I think with that, an aspect of people saying, well, you just do events, and I keep telling the team, we have to do events.
Right.
We just have to make them better events, and events that are more valuable to our membership. And so right now, we have some, and we're trying to figure out, okay, how can we make this better? How can we get better speakers? We have a lot of great speakers that have come even just this past year, but figuring out what that looks like, and to say, yes, we do events, but they're really value-added events that you want to come to and take time out of your workday to come to the chamber.
Wow, that's fantastic. You mentioned a couple of times workforce development.
Hmm.
And so
Yes.
talk to me a little bit about how you're going to be putting this focus towards workforce development and talent retention
Absolutely.
here in the Mid-South.
So we are kicking off a workforce council, which will start. Our first meeting is going to be October 22nd. And if anybody's watching this and you're not on our workforce council, we would love to have you. We really want any businesses of all shapes and sizes, large employers, small employers, to really come and be a seat at the table. And that's what the chamber is about, making sure your voice is heard. And so with that, we're bringing together the chamber, the town of Collierville, and then also the school system. So really highlighting that we are a joint unity here, and that we want to make sure that the businesses are letting our schools know, hey, these are the skills that we're lacking in the workforce, whether that's a small business or if it's a large business that needs really skilled employees. They can say, these are our issues, and here's how we need to tackle them. And then maybe having the schools, but also our TCATs are going to be on that board,
Mhm.
our community colleges, and just figuring out, again, how we all preach from the same hymnal. So if we're all trying to figure out workforce development, we all need to be in the same room.
That's
So I
fantastic.
feel like that's how the Carterville Chamber can help with our workforce and our talent retention, is really just getting all those people in a room and figuring it out, and then highlighting some key initiatives, and then we take those forward, and that can be, something that the chamber takes on of like, hey, this is an initiative of the Carterville Chamber and the Workforce Council.
Mm-hmm.
Let's kind of push this through.
You talked a couple times about the people.
Mm-hmm.
When we think about the business leaders in Carville, what is it you think about
Yeah.
the business leaders in Carville that makes them unique? And really, how do you plan to highlight their
Absolutely.
stories?
So one of the cool things, so I had a meeting, I guess 2 weeks ago and then this week, and so the businesses were completely different. I had one that was a super small shop, maybe 3 or 4 people, that worked there. And then I went to another one that employs about 400, 500 employees. And the message that I heard from both of them was that Carterville is amazing, Carterville is the best, and we want to see Carterville to continue to grow. And so I think that was really special because, you think you're going to hear that from the small business who may have lived here and has been here forever. But even our big businesses get it. They see the benefit of being in Carterville, they see the value, and they want to see it continue to grow. And both of those people, they live in Carterville, they send their kids to Carterville schools, they eat at our restaurants. They are committed to seeing Carterville flourish, and I feel like that's very rare because a lot of the times, you'd have a big business, but, they're just here because maybe it helps their bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
But the businesses here, small and large, really see the value. And I think one of the ways that we can figure out how to highlight those businesses is we're starting something called, Small Business Spotlight. And each month, we're going to pick a small business and we're going to say, hey, this month is all about you. Let me know the history of your business. We want to share it on our social medias. We want to get people in your store, especially, if they're a retail business or if they're a restaurant. We want to get people in here. Trying to figure out if we can provide some type of, if you're a chamber member, you get 10% off on Tuesdays. And so just smaller initiatives that would really help drive their business growth. And then with the larger companies, you can do that on the same scale of,
Sure.
Again, tell us your history. We want to know more about you. And so that we really want to do the small business spotlight first because, again, the small businesses are really the bread and butter in Carterville. And we love our large employers, and they employ so many of our residents here in Carterville. So figuring out that too and hearing those small stories of maybe somebody's, in HR over at a large company, like we want to hear your story, like why Carterville? And so I think that's going to be a big piece of how we highlight those businesses.
That's fantastic. 'Cause a lot of people don't realize, that you really have different markets that you're going for.
Yes.
We're talking about the larger businesses, the mid-sized
Yep.
business, and the smaller ones, and they have very unique challenges, unique opportunities, and in really unique ways for the chamber to serve and partner.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Now, we talk about the whole idea of collaboration, bringing
Yes.
people together, and I know it's really a key for community
is.
growth. How do you approach building relationships between businesses and government and residents?
Yes. So I really always preach. I think one of our very first interviews and I had with this job was, teamwork makes the dream work. And everyone says that. But it is so key, especially in a Carterville or in the Chamber of Commerce, because even in economic development, it's a team sport. It is not, just me over here trying to drive the chamber up. It is myself. It's the staff. It's our board members. It's the members of the chamber. It's the entire Carterville community.
Right.
And so really focusing on how we can all work together to get to our end goal. But really how I approach that is listening. Really going to these businesses and saying, hey, I'm from the chamber. How can I help you? And how, or tell me what's going wrong, and really listening to that and taking in, but then also showing them action. So you can say all the things you want, but really showing them the action behind my words is going to be the big key. But one of the funny things I like to tell people about how I build relationships is, so I've taken a Gallup Strengths Finders test. I'm not sure if you've heard of that, but what my top skill is woo, which means winning others over. So
Okay.
I really feel like it is just ingrained in my DNA to build relationships with people. So that's kind of how I approach it too. And so really just relating to them on a personal level and say, I'm not just somebody who sits over at the chamber office. I want to be here and I want to be present and I want to help you grow.
So I'm already envisioning a name tag or does the Empress of Woo.
Yeah, right. My whole family says, yeah, we see it. You're a woo for sure.
Okay, so we talked a lot about what the chamber does, but what's something in the chamber's work that most residents might not even realize they
Absolutely. So, obviously we do a lot of ribbon cuttings, we do events, but really we're here to advocate for your business. And I think, to be completely honest, we're going to get better at that. And so really going to our small businesses saying, what more can we do for you? And so highlighting those resources and then really being, like I said, a connector, a convener of all of those small businesses and large businesses. And it's a great place to have a seat at the table, have your voice heard, And so I think people obviously realize they just see a ribbon cutting or they see party on the patio, but we do have other events that are so value added. You know, we have lunch and learns where you can come and learn. We have Dale Carnegie come in this month to teach about stress and worry, but also, you know, we're going to do one that teaches about AI. So we want to add those small values back to the smaller businesses and again the large businesses, because they may have people there who don't know how to use AI, and it's such a great tool. And so really providing...
Or exactly what is AI?
Exactly. So really just showcasing that we have a lot of value and we want to bring those to our businesses.
Love it. All right. You know, when we think of chambers, we think of economics, we think of business. But so looking ahead, how do you hope to see Carterville continue to grow?
Yes.
Not just economically, but truly as a community. Talk about that sense of community. As we grow, how do we retain that sense of community?
Yes. So I think obviously growing economically is great, and having a background in economic development I think has really helped me kind of relate to some of these businesses too, because it's like I get it. I understand it's hard right now to be a business, but really moving forward, I want to see obviously our chamber grow. That would be a direct reflection of community and, you know, convening together. But I think really just continuing to have that spirit of Carterville and making sure that we are all lifting each other up and all preaching from the same hymnal. I've said that multiple times, but I feel like it's so true. We have to all be saying the same thing and not, you know, this side's saying this or we're saying this. All unity's really coming together. So that's with, you know, the chamber, the town, our nonprofits, the schools, our businesses, and we're all preaching together to continue to make Carterville good.
Love it. So what is it that you believe that sets the Carterville business community apart from the others in the region? I mean, obviously, you know, with your dad in Henry County and Weakley County and all the other things, you have a lot of experience in West Tennessee.
Yes.
What is it about Carterville business that sets them, it makes them unique?
I think that the Carterville community, really, like I said, they're passionate, and you know, small, large businesses, they understand the value that Carterville has, and they see the worth, and I think they have a lot of grit. And they have a lot of determination. I mean, I feel like we just went through COVID. It's been 5 years, but you know, they're still here. They're still hanging around.
Oh yeah.
And they don't want to leave. And I think that really says a lot about Carterville, especially. I mean, their kids go to school here. They could go to school anywhere. Know that they want to be in Carterville. They want to send them here. And I feel like that just makes Carterville different. In the fact that they love this community so much.
Love that. All right, big picture.
Yes.
What is the one message that you would like to share now that you're fully 2 months into the job? But what would be the one message you'd like to share with the Carterville community as you look forward with your vision, your passion, you know, your woo?
Yes. So I really just want people to know that you have a seat at this table. You have a voice here at the Carterville Chamber, whether you have 5 employees or you have 500. You know, we want to hear from you and we want to hear your pain points. So, you know, when we come into a business, be open-minded, hopefully, and, you know, kind of hear us out, but also approach us. We would love to hear from you. You know, we have a staff of 5 and we're trying to hit as many businesses as we can, but really just want everyone to know that, again, you have a seat at our table.
Love that. So you've done all these things, and, you know, at the well-advanced age of 29, my God, what is the one piece of advice that really has helped guide you through your life's journey and career journey?
So I guess it's kind of twofold. It's more about, you know, relationships matter. And so relationships matter, but also never burn a bridge. So, you know, people's titles may change, their roles may change, but, you know, they're going to remember how you treated them and, you know, how you made them feel. They'll never forget that. And so really making sure that you treat people with respect and grace. And so you never know how that may help you down the line or hurt you down the line. And so you want to be authentic with people. And I really feel like that's why, you know, I kind of said that word. And so every role that I've had, I've really approached it with, we need to be authentic and I need to be respectful. And so it really helps you out, especially, I mean, my past employers are the ones who, you know, were my reference for this job. And so having those relationships is really key, especially in a Chamber of Commerce role, because the amount of times I pick up the phone and just workshop an idea with somebody, sometimes my dad, but also other people that I've worked with in the community, and just saying, hey, this is a challenge we're facing. How does your chamber handle it? And so really just relationships matter and never burn a bridge has been the biggest key for me.
Well, and you know what? It's amazing how small this world really is.
It is.
and the interconnect of all those relationships. And but you're right. I mean, you know, people may forget what you say, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Absolutely.
That's very important. So what does success look like
Yes.
for Shelby Williamson?
So again, more of a twofold. So success to me is, really people being able to look at the chamber and say, that's good. They did something good. They're doing something good. And I never really, obviously metrics are good and goals are awesome. And so we want to hit those goals. But I want it to be something where people feel seen and they feel heard. But also on the flip side of that, success for me is figuring out that work-life balance too of, I'm married, I have a 2-year-old, and so really making sure, I'm showing up as a wife and showing up as a mother, but then also, having that passion for my work. And so my family is super supportive, and they've been amazing in helping me, really get to where I am today, but really making sure that, yes, I am successful in my career, but I'm also successful in my personal life.
Well, I got to give you a chance to break. Tell us about your 2-year-old.
Yes. She is me made over. She's 2 years old, running around crazy. She says a lot of words. My younger brother was in town this weekend, and he was like, "You just had a full conversation with her." And I was like, "She is my child." But she's great. She got a head full of curly hair, and she's just a joy to be around. So
I love it.
she looks just like my husband, which I don't think is fair, but it is what it is.
I understand that. My daughter just had twins, and so we're always debating who they look like.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's crazy.
You can tell my child. I'm like, we pull a baby picture of my husband and her, and it's like, there's none of me in her. You wouldn't know unless I had her.
Well, I bet there's a lot in there. All right. Well, so here we are. We're filming inside this amazing Collierville High School, and which it still amazes me. What we've accomplished with this building. What message would you have for the students at Collierville High School when it comes to leadership?
Absolutely. So I would say, and I guess for me, I knew in high school what I wanted to do, but start now. Now is when you can start getting those leadership opportunities, and it's now not always about who is the loudest in the room, but it's who shows up, who takes action, and who listens. And so you don't always have to be the loudest, but also really just continuing to move forward and never taking no for an answer. And I feel like I really said that. So a little backstory on me. So I went to school at Mississippi State, and I really had to, I guess perseverance too is really what I'm trying to push through, is that I went to Mississippi State, and I was a freshman on campus, and I was like, I'm going to try out for everything.
Okay.
I want to be involved on campus. And when I say I got turned down for several things, left and right, but I was like, I'm going to keep going. There's something here that I'm fit to be in, and that the Lord wants me to be involved with. And so I kept going, and I kept driving, and I was then I became the president of the Panhellenic community. So not just my sorority, but the entire
Greek organization.
The entire Greek organization, and was inducted into the Greek Hall of Fame at Mississippi State. And so I tell people, I'm like, just keep going, keep trying. There is a fit for you somewhere, and you just have to find it. All of us can have leadership roles. You just have to find your niche.
Wow. So a Hall of Famer, the Empress of Woo.
I have my cowbell at the office.
You got the cowbell
Greek Hall of
going.
Fame.
Okay, this is good. Well, it seems almost ludicrous to ask this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Here you are at 29, but years and years, decades down the road, when you look back and reflect upon your career, what would you hope would be your legacy?
Yes. So again, obviously, we want to hit those goals, and we want to hit those metrics, but I want people to really look back, or for me to look back, and people that I know to say, what she did was good. She built a good team, and people felt seen and heard around her. And honestly, in the grand scheme of things, I really want it to be my legacy to be something that my kids are proud of. And so I can do all these things in the world, and I can be proud of it, but I want my kids to say, what my mom did was good. And I feel like that a little bit stems from, what I've seen my dad do and the legacy he's created. And I'm proud of that, for him. And so I really want my kids to have the same vision when they look at me in my career.
That's awesome. Well, Shelby, this has been amazing. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today, sharing your vision for Collierville, for the community, the leadership you bring, the energy, and this sense of community. Now, it's so important because we always talk about wanting to build a stronger, more connected community,
Absolutely.
and I think you're absolutely doing it, and really helping as we all look to this town that we call home to be even stronger, better, and even have a brighter future. So, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Absolutely. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of a continent, a part of the main. John Donne. The 16th century English poet, scholar, and soldier John Donne understood the interconnectedness of humanity. All of us are connected and affected by the experiences and well-being of others. In our current age, Don might have well been talking about the importance of community connection, which is one of the primary focuses of local chambers of commerce, as they facilitate the engagement and connections of local businesses. Legendary American business icon Henry Ford understood the significance of connections. He once said, "Coming together is the beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success." Chambers of Commerce are tremendous engines for community growth, advocacy for free enterprise, and business connection. They are incredible resources to promote and protect the interests of its members. Effective chambers focus on promoting a strong business climate and support the growth and development of their members. They are connectors and conduits for community and business development. I've been a member of the Collierville Chamber for over 20 years and very proudly have served on the board of directors for nearly a decade. I've also been involved with the Greater Memphis Chamber and the Chairman's Circle, as well as the Germantown Chamber. As a former elected official and current chair of the Tennessee Business Roundtable, I deeply understand the importance of having a relevant and resonant voice for business in policymaking decisions at the federal, state, and local level. We are uniquely blessed to have a strong chamber presence in our communities. The partnership between local business and local government is a major factor in the growth and development of our community. Thank you, Shelby Williamson, for your passion and vigilant purpose in your work with the Collierville Chamber. Our community will be the beneficiaries of your work. As chambers connect, communities flourish, and our people will thrive. Until next time, I'm your host, David Pickler. Thank you for watching Bull TV, where together we deliver solutions for a stronger community.